Hey everybody, this is Ryan, and I'm here with Brian tonight. And he and I are gonna talk a little bit about some things that we've experienced, like I guess throughout our lives and throughout the last few years. We've he's one of these people who tends to have some really interesting experiences. Um, Most people, I guess, haven't really been as many weird places and stuff like that as he and I have, and didn't go seeking anything out really. We just kind of have ended up seeing things just from being out so much in the woods and in old weird places and stuff like that, which is kind of what you find when you go out there sometimes. But this guy he's had some really interesting experiences, and not just with not with me, but things that I was not present for that he has experienced, and that's kind of what I want him to talk about tonight. Like,
Well, what you want to talk about, Ben?
let's see. Well, you've got a lot of things that have a lot of experiences in this stuff. The first thing, though, I think you need to we need to address. Brian and I have been friends for a really long time. Like
Yeah,
like
since kindergarten.
yeah, yeah, we've known each other like over 30 years. So, uh yeah, we've been friends a long time. So we have grown up together pretty much. Well, um uh, the first thing that we ever really experienced together as far as like paranormal stuff goes is he had an uncle who passed away,
Yeah,
and it was a weird, kind of a weird situation anyway, due to some things that happened while he was alive. But back when we were young, when we were probably like what, 12, 13, some,
it's around 12, 13, maybe 14.
yes,
But yeah,
yeah, somewhere around there. So anyway, that age range, um, we had, well, Brian actually started coming to school and telling me that his uncle was coming to see him,
yeah,
like, was visiting him at night in his room. And he would be standing, Brian has always slept, he probably still does, slept with a box fan right at the foot of his bed. So he was telling me that his uncle would come and he would see him, he'd wake up and see him right there at the standing right by that box fan
yeah.
at night. So, well, like, when was the first time you saw that?
It's around, like I said, around the same age time that we're talking about.
Right.
But, I saw him, by myself, about 3 or 4 times.
Uh huh.
And, I guess around 11, 12, 13, 14, But it was a few weeks before you saw him.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
you saw him that one day.
I
Well,
saw him. What was weird about when I saw him was that, he was at my house.
he was following me.
Right.
And, he always wore the hat.
Yes.
It's like he had that cowboy hat.
That's one thing that I really remember about seeing it. And it's so strange because when you see a ghost, you don't see it for very long typically. Now, some cases are very different, but you typically don't see it that long. Now, this was like when I saw it, it was like a second, almost. I mean, that's the way it probably really was, but it was almost like I got to look at it for like, 4 or 5 minutes. Like I
it's
could just see every detail of it.
it's always that way
Yeah, it
because
is. It is.
you get locked in and you can't believe what you're seeing at first.
No, you really don't.
And this particular ghost, my uncle Harold was his
Right,
name.
right.
He you know, it's like whoa. is that really someone standing there?
Yeah, yeah,
But you can quickly realize that it's not a human, or it's a ghost or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
a ghost of a human. And
yeah,
but the first time I saw him, I was in my room, and
right,
I like to just sit there, play video games. Sometimes I'd raise the blinds and raise the window and just stare out the window.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I felt something looking at me,
yeah,
and so I look over and there he is. And I had to blink my eyes, and I looked real hard, and it's still there. And then I kind of freak out, and it's like it just goes away. And I'm like, oh God, like, well,
yeah,
what was that?
yeah,
So that happened a couple times after that, but not that long. And
man.
I remember once I started talking to you about it, it seemed like you started to see it.
Well, see that's what it was, man. Like when Brian came to school and he would be talking about this and telling me about this, and I really honestly didn't know whether to believe him or not. I mean, I've talked. I did a show on the stuff that I've personally had happen to me, and I mean, I'm not gonna doubt anything like that, but when you're a kid, you just wonder, well, is he really like, is this really the way it was, or whatever.
Yeah, my pulling your
And
leg or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so, but when I saw that over at my house, when I saw him there, that erased any doubt, any apprehension I had
yeah,
about.
complete game changer.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
I remember that clearly as well because well you had that it's like a porch swing
yeah,
but on like long chains. We'd swing really
yeah.
high
It was.
on it,
Yeah, you were able to actually get some
some air.
some air on it. Yeah,
But
yeah,
I remember we're going kind of high, and you look back, and I was like, "Are you okay?" Because you were like pale as ghost, bro. And
yeah.
I was like, "Are you all right?" And you're like, I think I see your uncle." And I look back, and yep, there he was.
It was really crazy, man, because I just saw him like out of the corner of my eye because we had gone back so high backwards
Yeah,
that I caught like a glimpse of where he was standing, out of the corner of my eye. It's not like I even really
yeah,
looked over. I just happened to like catch him. And it was just so weird, man, because it was exactly like you described it.
yeah.
I mean, he looked identical to what you had been saying. And after that, I was like, well, Brian has always been honest with me about stuff ever since we were kids. That affirmed it right there
Yeah.
for me. And so I've never doubted anything he's ever said from that point on when it comes to this kind of stuff because I know he's not going to make it up. I know that. I know this dude really well. And he's
And I
not.
don't want to see these things either.
No, no, it's not something you like
You,
wish to see.
you I really think I could be wrong, but it seems to me once you have an encounter with the other world or dimension,
Right.
it opens something in you or the other dimension. I'm not sure, but you will start to see more of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you definitely will.
And things that you would normally look past and not really focus on.
That's right. That's right.
All of a sudden, you're aware of.
That's right. That's how it goes with all this stuff.
And
And a lot of you guys know this. You've seen it. You've been there, done that. And but a lot of people haven't. And when it comes to the paranormal, man, there's an aspect to it that makes you consider, well, the world is not really like we all think it is. And in most cases, it really isn't like we think it is at all.
you're right.
And that's one thing. But anyway, I wanted us to talk, discuss that so that you guys actually know that I put full confidence in what Brian says because he's always been straight up with me about things like that, and that was, you know, proven to me beyond any doubt.
Mhm.
So that's why I've always put stock in what you say, and when it comes to this stuff, and you've had some really wicked experiences, man. Like, you know, some things that are just really out there. Uh, I do want you to cover like a few of these stories, and you know, I didn't really think about this stuff being like, I don't know. Well, we'll just get into this one. How about the one that you told me about in the woods, like you were in a
Ah,
mud hole in a truck or something, and something
yeah.
like pushed the truck or something, or
Well, you know what it
just
was.
go for it. Just talk about it.
We were we just got out in the woods, you know, like the mud ride.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
go riding through the woods, whatever.
Recreational stuff to
Yeah.
do in Alabama.
Just have a little fun.
Yeah.
So you know, had a good 4-wheel drive, and friend Derek was driving, and we've been riding for a little bit.
Shout out to the Mag 9.
Oh yeah, I miss that guy. I wish he'd hang out more.
He will.
But yeah, we were riding, and we're going up a simple trail, and it's kind of a wider trail, and we're just kind of creeping, you know, talking. And he stopped there, you know, he chain smokes, so he stopped, lit him a cigarette, and we got out for a second, and right in the middle of the road, little country gravel road, uh, and all of a sudden, I I uh, I heard something, you know, thought maybe in coyote, maybe, you know, something in
Yeah.
the woods. I didn't know what it was. But I look over and I see these glowing, bright yellow eyes. And it was a lot taller than me, about 35, 40 feet away in the woods in a thicket.
Yeah, yeah.
And I immediately try to get Derek's attention. We know Derek is pretty much deaf.
Yes, he is.
He's completely
Like
deaf.
legitimately, you know, watches TV with the captions on and stuff. Like
He's
straight up,
you know, he
hearing
can
impaired.
hear, but mostly lip reading. You know.
Yes, yes.
And I tried to get his attention, and he just wouldn't look.
Yeah, yeah.
And finally, I'm like, "Get in the truck!" And I jump in and I slam the door. That gets his attention. He's like, "What? What is it?" I'm like, "Just go now." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Look over there." And even Derek can hear trampling through the woods, and you know, smaller trees just get knocked over, and this real deep like roar, like going through the woods, and I was in shock. I was in fear. I wanted him to just step on the gas and get the hell out of there.
Right.
Well, finally does, and he didn't see what I saw, but he heard what I saw.
Right, right.
Even though he was deaf. And once we finally get up the trail and feel safe, we stop, and he's looking, you know, which way did I come in or whatever, you know, because it's logging trails, babe.
Yes, yeah, logging roads, yeah.
And so he determines that we need to go. It was basically a left diagonal turn. And he thought he saw something. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't see it, but let's go. And I in a way, I wish I would have investigated more, but you know, I was terrified.
Oh, I understand.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, out in the middle of the woods, very little light.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you see 3 times the size of a human, yellow eyes looking at you.
Right.
So I knew immediately it wasn't a mountain lion.
It's always intimidating.
It's not a mountain lion. It's not a bear. It's definitely not a human.
Right.
And at the time, I thought it was just some kind of demon or something. Well, after things that we've been through together,
Right.
I know what it was.
Well, I've often wondered though if it was maybe Dogman too.
I don't know.
I mean, it could have been either the Sasquatch or the Dogman. It was one of the two. I'm pretty sure. From what you had said, you did talk about the shove like on the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't there yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
As we were leaving, we he saw something or whatever, and I look back and I'm like, I don't care what it was. So he goes up to the diagonal left turn, and I thought he was trying to mess with me or whatever.
Right.
Well, he kind of hits the brakes and he does a little, fishtail going back and forth, spin jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
And he stops and he's kind of a little laugh. Then all of a sudden we feel almost like we've been rear-ended.
Oh man.
And he had on his bumper a shape about the size of the half of your fist.
Yeah.
A dent about an inch and a half in. And it was just, and then we look back. What was that?
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't see anything. And then we hear rustling through the bushes like a freaking lightning bolt.
Oh man.
All right, Derek's freaked out now, and we get out of there.
Oh man.
That was it. We were gone.
Wow.
So yeah, like I said, I kind of wish I'd investigated, but if you'd have been there, you wouldn't investigate.
No, not after that thing nailed my truck, man.
It's time to go.
No.
That's part of the reason, most of the reason.
Yeah.
That when you started saying that you may have a Sasquatch out here, I was like, well, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
First question I asked was, do you think it will be okay?
Yeah.
Are they violent or, And the thing is, in my experience, is they're probably not.
No, I don't think so. I
mean, in that situation, though,
here's the thing.
I feel like we threatened that particular one. Or whatever it was.
Yeah. There's a lot of it circumstantial.
Because it definitely hit the truck hard. I think it was saying it's time to get out of here.
Probably. They probably had a family around or something. But here's the thing, okay? Recently, I didn't even talk to you about this, man. There's something crazy that came out about this dude I know who was attacked, and I'm gonna do a show talking about this, and I'm talking to some other people about going on their stuff and talking about it too.
Okay.
But it's just some really wild stuff. Okay, and I'm not going to get into it a lot here.
Yeah.
And the thing is, okay, there are so many things out there, okay, that we think are fake or not real. Like so many cryptids and just different elementals and things like that do actually exist, but we don't think they do, because we've always been told, like fairy tales and stuff like that.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, all those things, I mean, not all of them. Some things are made up, but there's a lot of things that exist which those stories and stuff were based on. And here's the deal, like, okay, you have things out there in the forest that look like the Sasquatch, but they're not the Sasquatch. They're different, okay? But then you also have the Sasquatch, which look like the Sasquatch and are Sasquatch, but they're not all benevolent beings. Yeah. Some of them are, I mean, they're so intelligent, okay? Their personalities are so diverse that when you encounter them, they could behave. They'll behave according to the situation.
Yeah.
That's one thing that they'll usually do. The bad ones will, I mean, they'll do what they do, and there's just a lot of stuff that this is tying into right now. With all this coming out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's coming out from a source that isn't known for saying crazy stuff, and or whatever. And I say crazy stuff just because it's for lack of a better word.
Well,
But
the thing is this, and we've both been this way our whole lives. We don't just take the word of whatever's on the news or whatever.
no.
They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know about aliens or
And
Bigfoot or
disclosures
Sasquatch.
happening like
different dimensions.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
they don't want you to know.
There's so many things that are out there, and so many theories, like with UFOs, even with them being like interdimensional type things. And the thing is, like with Bob Lazar, man. Okay, Bob Lazar had, I mean, he straight up worked on the technology. The technology was not from this world. It just wasn't created here. We don't even understand gravity. We don't even know what it is, and they are controlling it and creating it through means of transportation, like four means of transportation. But that's the thing, and the way he explains it, is if you put like a basketball on a mattress, and then you press down beside that mattress, the ball rolls towards it.
Exactly.
So he's saying that what happens is they create a wrinkle in space-time.
Yes.
And that's how they move. They're not actually propelled. They're actually just moving through space-time. And it's such a different time because it's not linear like our time, like the way we conceive it, the way we perceive time. It's not like that.
Like bending space.
It's like time doesn't exist for them. So we're seeing this happen at a rate that is just astronomical to us.
Because to them it may be normal.
Right.
To us it's completely new.
That's the thing too, man. And that gets real deep into quantum theory, but but anyway, all right, check this out. So that was one of those unexplained incidents, though.
Yeah.
One of those things that happened that you don't know what that thing was.
And I've never seen any kind of animal move that fast.
Right.
Period.
Okay.
I couldn't follow it with my head as fast as I could turn.
Yeah.
It was
just gone. It was just gone.
I could hear it, and that was enough for both of us to say, let's go. I mean, especially after the big bump that literally moved us forward about...
That's crazy.
Not quite a foot, maybe around a foot, the whole truck now.
I mean, that's crazy. I remember when that happened, man. I remember, like, you telling me about
freaking out, hollering over the phone, probably.
And, well, you didn't know what it was. And, we weren't really even talking about Sasquatch and considering that kind of stuff back then.
Wasn't sure what it was.
No. I mean, like, there was no earthly idea, but
I knew it wasn't a human being.
Right.
Well, that's the only fact I knew.
No way a human's going to do that.
So...
I know what you mean.
That opened my eyes and freaked me out.
Yep. Well, Brian was with me the night that I had probably the most interesting, we had one of the rarest kind of Sasquatch encounters. And it was a close encounter of one running past us.
I think we came up and...
we startled him.
Yeah.
That's what happened. He was making a structure, actually. And we startled him. I've told this story too, probably a couple times on different shows, different episodes. But the thing is, this guy was the one with me. He was the one that was there with me. And he and I we both concluded afterwards, that we had never seen anything like this or heard anything like this because Brian didn't get to see it like I did.
I heard it though.
I wish. I mean, my biggest regret is not having a amazing
Camera
flashlight
or,
with me.
something.
Yeah, something that could have captured the image. But I mean, that would have been just whoa if we had a decent light. And the light is what startled him because I was shining the light like that, and I shined it right over to where he was. And as soon as I did, we heard just in the leaves.
That's what it was. We were going up to the other campsite
to get some wood,
to get that firewood stacked up,
and we backed I backed a truck in there. I mean, when you back a truck in, an animal's not going to stick around. They're going to take off. If it was a deer or something like that, and you see this big truck bed coming at you with red lights on the back, you're not going to stick around to see what that is.
All I remember is
if you're an animal.
We came up to the campsite.
Yeah.
I got out and I immediately heard you go, dude, and I saw you shine the light. Well, I was looking around.
Because I was already out shining the light.
Didn't see what you're talking about. Then I heard what sounded like, I don't know, imagine 90-pound bags of shingles.
Yeah,
just dropping down like, doom,
yes.
doom.
That's a very good comparison.
And the vibration too.
Yeah, that's what got me, man. That's what really got you. You could kind of feel the thump through the freaking ground. I mean, it was
like
that
fast. It was so fast.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it was exactly what I saw 7 or 8 years before that with my friend Barrett, and I was pretty wigged out.
I'm gonna tell you that was the closest I've ever been to one running for sure.
I think me too.
I mean, there's no question about that because running, man, seeing one of them run like that is it's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's such power and you could just imagine how strong they are because they're heavy and I imagine the first one I saw around 10 feet maybe. That one you described to be around what, 12, 15 maybe, because it was in
I think it was more like 9 actually. I think the way I had gotten it figured up was I was standing above where it was running. That's the thing. Like the ground I was standing on was higher than the ground it was running on. So there was probably a 2.5, 3 foot, maybe even more than that difference between the level of the ground. So it was already down further than where I was standing, and it was already its eyes. I remember looking right at me, and seeing that eye shine. And when that happened,
it's paralyzing.
It kind of is. I mean, it's so bright that it's just it's mesmerizing to see it.
They could crush you, but
yes,
in my experience, they're pretty gentle.
Brian's been out with me a lot, and especially after that, we really kind of started hitting it hard out in the woods at night.
Well, that we actually investigated the area the next day.
Yeah, we went and
found where it seemed like the path, and there were, good sized little pine trees and bushes that were just completely trampled.
Well, we went down in the direction that it headed to, and that's the main thing about this whole encounter that made it so crazy. Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Okay, it went dead silent after that thing passed us. Okay, after he passed us,
that's what bothers me.
It veered down the hill.
It's where could it have went?
Right. It took about probably 5 to 7 steps at the most, and went
and traveled about 50 yards in about 5 to 7 steps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long way, and that's the thing, though, man. There was nowhere for it to hide. That there was nowhere it could have gone without making noise.
Yeah.
You know,
Or we would have seen it.
we would have seen it. Yes, it was
I mean, you were
totally
all
clear.
over it.
That's why it was totally clear down through there.
And you were shining your light. We were looking.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
and
I mean,
nothing was to be seen. So, except for the footprints we saw and
there's no way it could
the
have
trampled bushes and trees
been right.
and branches. You know, the overhanging branches that were just knocked off. So I don't know.
I don't know either, man. But that one, that's something I'll never forget. And no matter how many other experiences I've had with these, and that one was profound, because that was like the first time I ever considered that they actually disappeared. I didn't see that one disappear, but I know that's what happened.
I mean, you know, it's all like, to me, like, I don't know what to believe.
No, yeah,
But I've heard and pretty much believe it now that they can literally disguise themselves so well with nature they are invisible and silent, or they can warp dimensions.
That's what I think it is, man. I think the main thing about them is they're interdimensional. I mean, there's too many things I've seen. Just like one night, I was talking about this on one of the episodes where I saw like this light up there on this hill right outside the door. Yes, I may have told you about it. I don't know.
I don't know. Go ahead.
But it almost looked like a portal opening up. I had seen something moving, like a light moving up the hill. It was weird. And then like it kind of disappeared a little bit and for a second, and then right as it did, there was this big flash up there. It was like a rose colored light. It was really weird.
That is weird.
Yes. And there's been some other things that have happened up there, but you know, um, you were with me that night that we saw that UFO out here.
Yes.
Hovering right over the tree line, and I saw whatever that was fly down past it.
Brian was like the upside
Brian
down.
was tying his shoes.
Green
or something.
mushroom or something.
It looked like an upside down semicircle, and it was like a greenish hue to it, but it was like transparent. It was completely transparent almost, and it was like only just like a shade lighter than the night sky. I mean, if you weren't looking right at the spot where it appeared, you would not have seen this because it was just too dark. It was too transparent. It was really weird. But I don't know, man. What's the strangest thing about all that was that it happened right over one of the most active Sasquatch areas out here.
I always wondered that, and you know, every time, even in the daytime, you know, we rode up there on the 4-wheeler one day, and just both looked at each other.
Yeah.
And we're like, something right.
Yeah, just had a feeling.
And couldn't describe what it was or why it wasn't right. But it was a nice day. Nothing was wrong with our 4-wheeler. Nothing was wrong with anything around us. Just both felt that.
Yeah.
Uneasy feeling. And both agreed it's time to turn around and go back. No reason. Just both decided, hey, it's time to go back.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they have that power over humans.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, literally, like, anybody that's ever been camping or hiking may have experienced that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's probably them. I'm going to say it's them. And my faith in them is pretty strong nowadays because you got to understand, I'm about to tell you about another story that made me 100% believer. And I'm probably going to go ahead and tell you.
Yeah. This one is okay. Brian, when this happened, like I got him to tell it on my other channel, and this was one of the most interesting stories I think I've ever heard about a Sasquatch or involving a Sasquatch. I mean, it's just not something that you usually hear about.
Very
happening.
ironic.
Yeah, it was really strange, really out of the ordinary. So yeah, I definitely want you to tell this
All right.
story here.
Well, I'll start by saying the guy with me is a friend that doesn't, for whatever reason, want his name.
We'll call him CJ.
He doesn't want his name in the story. But he's so freaked out, he doesn't ever want to go looking for these guys. But I can't really blame him. I mean, not everybody's cut out for it.
That is
A lot
true.
of people think we're crazy for going out in the woods looking for them, but I figure, hey, if they wanted to get us, they could just come here and get us.
Oh, just as easily. Yeah.
So I think they're peaceful. I'm gonna go with that because that's the only reason or only way I'm gonna get out there and look for them. So.
And you've never really had anything to make you think otherwise.
No.
But
this story is actually kind of.
You've always run into the ones that aren't bad to run into. It seems like.
Well, it's like this. We were going fishing.
Yeah.
And we're at this lake. All right. I'm not catching anything. Night goes on. Sit there. We're talking. And we hear this puppy in the woods somewhere. And we're like, that's got to be like a dog. And I hear it whimpering. And so we kind of look around with our lights. Don't see anything, of course. And I'm like, well, dang it, man. Like, I don't know what that is. It's kind of, freaking me out a little. And so I reel my lure in. I prop it up. And then I hear it real loud. And everybody looks at me. He's like, dude, that's definitely a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. And then we hear splash. We're like, okay. And we look, shine our light. And there's this little puppy swimming across the creek, coming right at us. And we both look right above that. Yellow eye shine, looking right at us. And then we hear a thump, 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 thump.
Yep.
Gone. All right. Puppy swims over. We're freaking out. Puppy swims up, grab him out of the water, and he has long red hairs.
Oh man.
On the puppy.
That's crazy.
It's very crazy.
Yeah.
And my buddy looks at me and he's like, dude, can we get out of here? I was like, you're damn right we can.
Yeah.
And grab the puppy. And this is that was the day that we were like, we went fishing for fish, but caught a puppy.
Yeah.
That confirmed it 100% right there.
Oh yeah.
Red hairs, about that long on the puppy. I heard the puppy way out in the distance.
Uh-huh.
All right. Way out in the middle of nowhere, dude. Don't know how the dog got out there. All right. Well, Sasquatch knew the puppy needed help. I think Sasquatch grabbed the puppy and brought him to us.
I think so. I mean, that's what it seems like. Because
it had to be.
It did.
I mean, trust me, I have to tell myself that because I can't come up with any other story or sleep at night.
One thing that a lot of people ask me, does he still have the puppy?
Yeah.
What's it? And they also ask me what its name is.
Name is Dio.
Dio. Like Ronnie James Dio. that knowing him, yeah.
Hey, it's
makes sense.
It's a great dog.
I believe it.
Looks like some kind of hound. Sort of like a hound.
It probably got lost, Somebody was probably hunting it. I mean, running it.
I mean, it wasn't like a real young puppy, but it was young.
Or I could have been training it to hunt,
I mean,
they get separated all the time doing that.
It's a young dog.
Yeah.
About that big.
Was it close to the national forest where you guys were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the National Forest is just a hotbed for all
Oh
kinds of
yeah.
paranormal activity. And
Oh yeah.
a mega hotbed. If anybody wants to go finding them, that's
Go in a group.
pretty much a guarantee.
Yeah. Have a group with you.
Yeah, definitely go in a group. Yeah, we don't want any.
Don't build fires. Don't do anything like that. They don't like that. That I found. They won't come around.
Yeah, usually fires keep them at a distance. But
I don't think they like it.
man, I'm gonna tell you, dude. Like the stuff that you had go on though, as far as like this with this subject, you know, not many people have those kinds of experiences, especially more than once.
It's not that many.
Yeah, that's right. And that's kind of how how it is for certain people. But I don't know what it is about Brian and I have always been. I don't know. We've always seen things a different way than most people, I think, and I think that kind of
Really
opens us up to
open-minded.
open-minded for sure. And I think that kind of opens us up, to susceptibility when it comes to seeing this stuff and experiencing this stuff.
That and Alabama, I think, is a very hot spot for these guys.
Yeah, it is. Alabama is one of those places. The South in general, like especially southeastern United States. You look at like Florida and Georgia. And,
definitely Georgia.
Yes, definitely Georgia. South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. All of these states have massive Sasquatch populations, is what they say. And I think, they're even larger than they report because I think a lot of stuff does not get reported. I think if because people in the South are different when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
They're not as vocal about it as people in more liberal areas of the country, like
They don't
the Pacific
want to.
Northwest.
They don't want to sound crazy or paranoid.
Exactly. So they're gonna,
If
try
more
not
people
to have to talk about that.
if more people would be more vocal and accepting and share their knowledge,
Oh
then
yeah,
maybe there would be some kind of investigations, like heavy investigation
yeah,
that could prove it. But until then, it's going to be like, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about until you yourself witness it, and then you're like, automatically, okay, well, they're not crazy. Yeah, I saw it with my own eyes, and everyone's like that until they see it, or hear it, or experience it. So it's you know,
yes, yes. I mean,
share your knowledge, share it.
yeah,
That's what we're doing, and you know, a lot of people might think we're crazy, but I don't care because I know it's true.
right,
I've seen it,
right.
and I'm not gonna keep my mouth shut about it.
No,
I'm
man,
not gonna be one of those people that I'm afraid to say anything. People think I'm stupid.
we're not like that anyway. We're totally different when it comes to that because we don't really care what people are gonna think about what we say. And the
Sure.
thing is, it's reality, man. This is reality. This is the way things are. This is truth. This is the way it is, and that's the way it's gonna be. Like, there's nothing you can do that's gonna change that.
Yeah.
Things are the way they are. This is the way it is. There are these things in the world.
I used to
And
be one of those people.
I was one of those people too, who didn't believe a lot of the things that I understand now.
It's just a big joke. You see little pictures or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Well, see, like the Sasquatch thing, I never really doubted because it always made sense that could exist.
yeah,
To me, it always made sense. You had apes, I mean, gorillas and monkeys and primates, that are extremely similar
mm,
to the description of a Sasquatch. And I was like, well, if they exist, some of these gorillas are massive. So I was like, if they exist, sure, we could have something that's even bigger that looks like them.
Yeah.
But once I realized what they actually were and stuff, that's when it kind of blew my mind.
Intelligent beings.
Yes, it's highly intelligent, and that's what gets me though, man. There's things that I've learned from just years of doing this and interactions and experiences that I don't know. I don't really want to get in this. It's going to get way too deep with that. Actually, I've already talked about a lot of it in another episode too. But I don't know, man. The thing about this world that's really I don't understand. You've got things like the Mandela effects, which just makes no sense. Yeah, I had to rig up a table for Brian to sit at. But yeah, it the Mandela effects. Okay, the way that happened, that makes no sense. Okay, we cannot explain that. We can try to explain it. We can make up something, but it's not gonna be the way you know, the way it probably happened. So, but that is something that's just almost inconceivable. And to a lot of people, to the majority of people, that it happened. It's reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Now to say that is is not someone else's reality. I mean, that's the thing. Okay. How many dimensions are we actually in that we are interacting with right now? You know, are we interacting with parallel dimensions? Like maybe are you in another dimension and I'm in another dimension and we just kind of converge at times and you see what I mean? Like there's so many questions that this poses with that kind of stuff, that Mandela effects and stuff
I wouldn't say that we're not, but I don't think we are.
Yeah.
Uh, I think as long as you have two or three connections, then you can see.
Yeah.
And whatever you see goes, or anything supernatural has to be connected somehow.
Yep.
And you can see it.
Yep.
But there's an equal thing there that says that it can go away at any point. So you're not going to see it and just see it all the time.
Right.
It's like a glimpse here and there.
It's got to manifest, like manifest itself with energy.
Like when you saw my uncle.
Right. Right. Something about the energy gets to be right, and they can use it to.
Everything's lining up at that point in time.
And, that seems to be the way it works a lot of the time.
Because who's to say time doesn't tick different in another dimension?
Yeah, and I think it does.
So, that dimension could be 1,000 years in 1 second, or 1 second for 2 seconds. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's the thing, like with the whole stuff I've seen, man. That's what gets me. Things I can't deny, and
you can't explain it.
That's right.
It's just it'll drive you nuts if you let it.
It will. It will.
That's why we both came to the agreement. Like, look, we're going to go in this, and we're going to be careful.
Yep.
And we're going to keep an open mind. And if it gets too crazy, we're getting out.
That's right. And think about this, man. Okay, do you realize how close we've been to the Sasquatch on video?
Yes.
Like it's on video.
I have. Yeah. I've noticed. And
that one video where the little one is in the bushes, like right
hanging
in front
out
of us.
Yeah.
And the light even gets shined right on him, and we didn't see him. How did that happen?
There was a time I remember. We always stay pretty close because of obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And I remember there were like.
And he means pretty close, like no more than like a mile out. Pretty much,
It's like this. There was something throwing rocks or something.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were looking hardcore, hoping to get something on video, and we just couldn't. But
And that was early on when I started doing this kind of stuff, you know.
We were
and,
looking everywhere, and
Yeah, yeah.
I would look this direction, and we'd hear it behind us. I'd look this direction, we'd look.
Yeah, we'd go over there and we'd hear it over here. We'd run over there and then
it
they were
was
playing with us.
almost
They were toying.
frustrating.
Oh, very.
Because I'm like, where are you? And they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were toying with us.
Yeah.
And they know when you're looking for them. If you're aware of them, I think they are childlike in a way, the way they like to play.
Yeah, they are a lot. Yeah, I know what you mean. And some of them are children, you know.
Yeah.
I was telling Brian I had this experience. Well, it wasn't experience, but the other night, this was probably a month or so ago, maybe a month and a half ago or so, and I came home from work. Nobody was at my house. Everybody was gone. And I came in from work, and one of my son's Power Wheels, little Marshall Paw Patrol fire engine, was out in the yard where they had gotten quit riding it or it went dead or whatever, and not too far out though. I mean, probably 20 feet off the back deck or something. But this thing, when I came home, was the siren was just blaring on it. And it has these red LED lights that just flash, you know, back and forth. And oh man, it was going off. And it was like 11:30 at night. I was like, what is this thing doing? No, none of them were there. It was just like, so anyway, I don't usually get off that early too. That was just the night I get off earlier. So it could have been going on all night if I had done that. But yeah, it's just weird because the 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 switch that controls that is behind the steering wheel of this thing. Like the steering wheel is right in front of it, and it's like behind. You'd have to actually reach around and behind it to flip that switch. And when you flip that switch, the lights start going off and the siren starts blaring. And I think something flipped it and got freaked out when all that noise started and took off. But it was just weird to come home to that. And that's the kind of things that happen, you know, when you have them around a lot. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that goes on.
It's almost like they're trying to make contact with you.
Yeah, they are. And they are.
They don't know how to go about it. Just like we don't know how to go about it. And
we're all very different things.
Who knows if we all met? It could be great.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Brian, I think we've done it, man. I think we've gotten pretty far on this one, and I believe we've covered everything we needed to talk about.
Sounds good
for tonight. But I'll have Brian on again to talk about some more things because there are several other many interesting experiences, that we could go through. But anyway, I just I thought this would be a good way to come back to doing the show because I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I don't think I'm going to have the opportunity to do a lot of in-person guests, especially with what's going on right now, pandemic and all that crap, COVID crap. But I'm going to start doing a lot of them like Zoom type things, and I think that'll be good too. I can even bring Brian in on it in person to come and do Zoom interviews with. You can sit in on them anyway.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Whoa.
Almost.
Yeah, we got to get this thing out of here before we knock it all the way over. Yep. All right. I want to get another table in here one of these days. We just kind of had to make shift real quick. And he's just been shifting it, that's for sure. All right. We're out of here, everybody. I appreciate you all watching. And please subscribe if you haven't. And I'll be back soon with more. And he'll be back too eventually.
Yeah. Come back and listen to some more stories and give us your input.
Yeah, let us know what you think about all this. in the comments. Just give us a comment. Let us know how you liked it and what you thought. All right, we're out of here. Take care, everybody, and definitely stay safe. Use your precautions.